your punchline.
Here we go.
Their big acquisition that Nick Wright thinks might be the best running back in the league this year had fewer yards last week in the preseason game than me.
Now he's back.
I had 0, all right? He had -1, all right? They are there. The run game, I know that's what Pete Carroll wants to establish. That line obviously had trouble last week, so I don't know what. I like Genty.
Yeah.
All right, and don't say I don't. I like Genty. You just can't run behind a bad offensive line. All right, and Geno. All right, we know what Geno is. No, I mean, I think he might be the worst quarterback in that division. All right, defensively, they don't.
They have problems on defense.
They have been bottom, forget top 10. They've been bottom 10 in the defense, 25 or lower in defense for like the last 5 years. One time in the last 5 years, they've broken it. Yes, so they're not going to be able to stop people. I don't think they're going to light up the scoreboard. Brock Bowers, great, but nothing on the outside. So I just think the floor, they're the worst team in that division.
Great.
Period.
So they bring Geno in, and Geno has 21 touchdowns and 15 interceptions last year. He fumbled the ball 9 times. Remarkably, he didn't lose any of the fumbles. Was one of the worst in the league in red zone in terms of interceptions, so that was problematic. Genty, I'm not as high as Nick is on Genty. I don't know if he can carry the load.
Just mad that they didn't throw him the ball in college because they wanted him to get the rushing. They wanted him with the Heisman.
I hope he has a long, successful career. We'll see how that works out. In terms of the defense, though, they haven't been good defensively, but Pete did overhaul the defense. He replaced 6 guys, 6 starters, so that should look different. But all that being said, I don't think they're going to be able to do it, and I'm going floor.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, 10-7 predictions week spoiler number 2 is my pick for them.
Wow.
So it's not more likely that they hit their ceiling. I think they are hitting their ceiling. The combination of the division's easiest schedule, a massive upgrade at coach who is a badass out there wearing receivers gloves at 70-some years old. Yes. Did you not see where he was on the very respected coach fight power rankings? He was in the top 10.
I don't know if that.
He's 73.
Exactly. Old man strength.
He's got the energy,
all right.
much
He does have energy.
Thank
I give him that.
So here is the concern is defense. The hope for them is Pete Carroll for 40 years has been just manifesting good secondaries, and if he has the right personnel, great secondaries. He takes care of that. Max Crosby takes care of the pass rush, and then you hold on for dear life against the run. It's not a Super Bowl formula. And then to, again, just go back and watch some of the decisions Antonio Pierce was making and some of the throws Aiden O'Connell was making. The upgrade from those guys to just average.
Yes.
And Geno's above average and Pete Carroll's well above average. All of that plus the schedule, ceiling for sure.
With the Chiefs on upset alert against the Raiders.
Maybe.
There we go.
Listen, let me add one other point before you figure it out. Here's another thing.
This was over when Bruce said,
they get the biggest benefit you can get, which is they get the Chiefs, one of their 2 Chiefs games, week 18.
Okay. Anyway, using the history as a reference point, specifically now for Geno Smith and the Raiders, especially like separately, I mean, it just makes no sense. It really does. It really does. Like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. This defense is completely overhauled. You do have Pete Carroll, a significantly greater defensive coach. So that alone, even if you had the exact group of guys, Pete Carroll will elevate this defense. You're now also going to radically transform this offense, which now helps you play complementary football in a level that, quite frankly, this Raiders defense has not been able to be on the receiving end for years. You're bringing in Chip Kelly, who I think is going to significantly help Geno Smith, and Geno Smith will benefit from him. So he will be better in the red zone, especially having someone like an Ashton Genty there and Brock Bowers. Like I don't understand, honestly. And when you talk about red zone offenses, because he was calling out Geno Smith wasn't good in the red zone. I don't want to say exclusively, but a massive percentage of red zone success, I put way more on the coach and coordinating. Red zone offenses and defenses, just the red zone playbook as a whole, is it's its own separate playbook, essentially. It's its own collection of, it's just, I think even Chris Collinsworth kind of talked about this one time where he was just like, it's just a different brand of football entirely. And so I put that so much on the shoulders of the coaching staff. And like I said, you're now with I think a huge elevation in coordinator between who they had in Seattle and who they had with Chip Kelly. And so that alone, I'm like so much less concerned about, honestly. The coordinator for Seattle he's already been like, I mean, he's back in college now. So and to me, Chip Kelly's track record is very much proven. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I mean, honestly, I know everyone is forced to have an opinion, and I get it. But you really start to force an opinion when you're using the last 5 years as a reference point for the Raiders and their defense, when you have an entire new coaching staff. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it really doesn't. You talk about Geno Smith, and you're like, oh, this is what Geno did. And it's just like, well, he was in Seattle. He didn't have a lot to work with. He had a coordinator who I don't think quite got it. I'm not saying that he was a bad coordinator, but just wasn't able to put it together. They couldn't protect him. Like they really did just try to be like, hey, Geno Smith, essentially be a superstar quarterback. It's not what Chip Kelly's going to do with this team. Not at all. And Pete Carroll has nothing to do with the defense in 21, 22, 23, 24. Pete Carroll has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. So it's just like using the past as a reference point for that. Like, it's like, why? Like, wait, what? Like, why does that make sense? If Pete Carroll had been there for years and there wasn't a lot of new pieces added to this roster, and the coordinator that the Raiders had was just, John Smith, and now you're bringing in Geno Smith. I didn't mean to make it, John Williamson, and then you bring in Geno Smith, then I could say, okay, let's see how this works here. But I just feel as though you have just proven upgrades on both offense, defense, offensive coach, defensive coach. Like, there's just upgrades everywhere. And so the idea that they could only come away with only 5 wins this year, 5 wins? How? I can't fathom that. 5 wins? The only way that's happening is if they get decimated with injuries. And if Geno Smith starts showing his age and he falls off an absolute cliff, and you're just like, oh man, Geno Smith can't play. Like, his shoulder, he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards without it just floating in the air. I mean, like, without him just absolutely, or Chip Kelly's just like loses his mind and he's just like, I'm trying to be a head coach, so I'm trying to do everything I can all at once, all in the first quarter, every single game. And like, Pete Carroll's like, dude, Chip, can you relax? What's wrong with you? Like, I mean, it would have to be just such random extreme scenarios for me to see them come away with only 5 wins when they were able to essentially do that or more in years past with a worse roster, worse quarterback, worse coaching staff on both sides of the ball. And yet somehow they've now improved in all these areas, and yet they're not going to then improve in the win-loss column. I can't wrap my head around that. I really can't. I can't wrap my head around how that's even remotely possible. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Las Vegas Raiders? What do you think's more likely, that they hit the ceiling or the floor? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.